This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last session, we have discussed about the web services, and we have discussed what exactly a web service and what is the use. We have discussed. Now, we'll see how to prepare the web services inside your Salesforce instance. We'll see practically. Okay. So that already we have discussed. When coming to the web service is nothing but a custom class or a custom business logic which can be accessible over the internet, which can be exposed to the outside the world, which can be consumed by the third-party applications in order to have the communication with your systems. So in order to make the two applications can communicate with each other, we are using the help of web services. But in this case, as part of this web services, we are discussing two things. First one, how can we create our own web service which can be consumed by third-party people? Okay, that is one scenario. That means we are preparing our own web services, we are preparing our own business logics. Now that business logic or that web service can be utilized by some other third-party people. In the second scenario, somebody has prepared some web services. Okay, somebody has prepared some third-party web services are available. How can we consume? That means how can we access those web services? That means calling, call out. Both we'll see as part of this implementations. Okay, so how can we prepare our own web services and how can we expose it to the outside the world? And how can we consume the third-party people's web services into our Salesforce instance? Both the scenarios we'll see as part of this web services. Okay. First, we have to discuss how to create our own web service. How can we expose? Okay, we'll see, and then we'll see how can we consume the third-party web services. Okay, for that one we require the concept of JSON format. By using that JSON, we can able to consume the third-party web services. If it is an open web service, then directly we can consume. If it is having any authentication mechanisms, then how can we use that OAuth authentications? Okay, in that OAuth authentication, what are the various flows are available? What are the various models are available? How to use that flows, we'll see practically. There we are having multiple flows are available as part of OAuth authentication, like as username, password, and then we are having the web server authentication flow, user and the agent authentication flow. Like that, we are having the multiple flows are available, but two flows are very, very important. We will see those two flows also. Okay. So let's make a note of this one here. Web service. Web service is nothing but a custom business logic class which is available on the web. Web service is nothing but a custom business logic class which is available on the web. By using this web services, what is the main aim? Communication between the disparate applications, different applications, heterogeneous applications can communicate with each other. Okay. By using web services, we can provide the communication between different disparate systems. Nothing but heterogeneous applications, different applications which has been built by using different programming languages and different technologies, which are using different databases, which are running on different platforms. So we can able to provide the communication between the multiple applications with the help of the web services. Okay. Now, in this case, when coming to the web services are providing the platform independent communication. Okay, platform independent communication. Platform independent means what? Irrespective of the platform, irrespective of the operating system, whatever it may be. Okay, irrespective of that operating system, whatever it may be, irrespective of the development platform, whatever you have used, either it may be C programming, C++, Java, .NET, SAP, Oracle, it may be mainframes, whatever, anything. Irrespective of the platform, we can able to provide the platform independent communications. It's not dependent on the platform. Like as only 2 applications which are running on the Windows platform can communicate, not like that. One application is running on Windows platform, second application is running on some Linux platform. The first application has been built by using Java, second application has been built by using mainframe. Both the applications can communicate also. So by using that web services, we can provide the communication between the multiple applications which are running on the different platforms. So that here, by using web services, we can provide the platform independent communication. Okay, that facility is available here. That is called as interoperability. Okay, that is called as interoperability here. Okay, now let's make a note over here. By using web services, we can provide the platform independent communications. We can provide platform independent communication. For example, I'm having a Java application which is running on Linux platform, Linux operating system. And I have an SAP application which is running on some Windows platform. So we can able to provide the communication between these 2 applications also. Both applications can communicate with each other. Both applications can communicate with each other. That possibility is available. So with the help of that web services, we can able to provide the communication between the disparate systems, different applications, different servers which are purely running on different platforms. Okay. That facility is available as part of web services. Now, by using these web services, we can able to expose the business logic, data, functionalities, everything we can able to expose. Okay. With the help of web services, we can able to expose the business logic also. We can expose the data also. We can expose the functionalities also. All these things we can expose with the help of web services. Sometimes if you want only data, then we can able to transfer the data with the help of web services. Sometimes if you want to expose the business logic also, then also we can expose. Sometimes functionalities if you want to expose, then we can expose the functionalities with the help of web services. So with the help of web services, we can able to expose data and the business logic and the functionalities to the third-party systems. We can offer all these 3 facilities to the third-party systems. Okay, that facility is available. Now, for example, here, come to a general scenario. I have a data loader tool. You know data loader tool, how to use that. So what is the use of data loader tool? To import elements. That means data loader is a tool which has been built by using Java programming. Okay, which has been built by using Java programming internally here. Okay. Now the data loader tool is going to be connecting to your Salesforce instance. Okay, it is connecting to your Salesforce instance internally through integration. But what is the main purpose of data loader? Only data. Okay. Okay, only data import, export. That's it. We can't access any class by using data loader. We can't access any method through data loader. We can't access any other functionalities through data loader. We can't access that. That means data loader is also one of a separate tool, okay, which has been built by the Salesforce people by using Java programming. So which is used to only to exchange the data. That's it. Okay, only the records we can able to exchange. not objects, not fields, not business logic, not the methods, not classes, not Visual Force pages, nothing. Simply the data. But with the help of these web services, we can able to expose data also. We can expose the business logic. We can expose the functionalities also with the help of these web services. Okay? That facility is available to you over here. Okay? Now make a note of this one. By using web services, we can expose the data, business logic, and functionalities the external system, so that the third-party systems can able to access the business logic also, they can access the data also, they can access the functionalities also from my application. That facility is available when coming to that web services. So now whenever we are going to be using the web services, okay, whenever we are using the web services, each and every web service, each and every web service should follow some set of principles. Okay, every web service should follow some set of principles. Okay, now what are those principles? Now let's see one by one. Okay, so when coming to the web services, it is having some set of principles are available. Now, principles. Each web service should follow a set of principles or guidelines. First one is resource. First principle is resource. Second one is stateless. Third one is cacheable. Okay, cacheable. That means whatever the web service data is available, we can able to maintain a cache. Instead of making the call to the same web service again and again and again, we can able to collect the data, we can able to store inside our cache also. Here further, in future, if you want, we can able to utilize that same data again. Okay, that facility is available so that we can reduce the number of server traps and we can able to make our application performance improve. Next, the fourth one. Code on demand. Okay, code on demand. So these are some set of principles where each web service has to be get followed. Okay, each and every web service, okay, which we are going to be exposing, every web service should follow these principles. Okay. Now let's see in this case each and every principle one by one. Now, so when coming to the web services, whatever the things you are implementing, okay, whatever the features you are implementing, everything will be referred as a resource. Okay, everything should be referred as a resource. Okay, whatever the features you are implementing, whatever the business logic you are implementing, everything will be referred as a resource. Okay, now in this case, let me explain. For example, assume that I am building an application. I'm building an application which is an employee inventory system. In order to store all my employees' information and the department's information, payroll information, everything, I'm here developing an application. Okay. So I'm building an application, okay, in order to manage all my employees' data, their payrolls information, financial information, everything I'm storing inside a system that is called as employee inventory system. Okay. So now as part of this application, we are going to be utilizing so much data. We are storing some employees' data also. For that one, here I'm having an employee table. I'm having an employee table. I'm having an employee table. In this employee table, okay, in this employee table, I'm having some set of fields. Okay, like as I'm having that name field. Okay, I'm having the employee name field and the ID field also. These are the two fields are available as part of this employee table. I'm having these two fields. So these are the two fields are available as part of this employee table. And I'm having a department table also. I'm having a department table also. As part of this department table, I'm having the department name and the location and the ID also. As part of this department table, I'm having few columns. ID of the department, name of the department, and the location. These are the details are available. Like the similar way, I'm having some more other objects are also available. Payroll object is available. Attendance object is also available. And the contact details object, like that multiple objects are available, okay, inside my application. As part of my employee inventory system, I'm having the various objects are available. Okay, we are having various objects like employee object, department object, because payroll object, and then the attendance object, and then contact details object. Like that, we are having that so much information is available as part of my employee inventory system. Now, in this case, so whatever the tables that we have, it may be anything. It may be anything. Okay, it may be table, it may be column, also whatever. Whenever we are going to be accessing anything through that web service, each and everything is called as a service. Okay, everything is nothing but a resource. When coming to that in web services, in web services, everything will be referred as a resource. For example, so this is one resource here. Okay. So this is one resource which we can able to access. Now, if you want to access this resource, then we have to use a name. Okay, if you want to access this resource, we have to use a name. For example, I'm giving that name called as employees. Okay, I'm giving the name as employees. This is the resource name. Whenever if you want to access this particular department details, then we have to refer it as a resource. How can we access this department details? For that one, I'm giving a resource name. Departments. Like that, you will be having that payrolls. Like that, here we can able to access each and everything like as a resource. So this is nothing but a resource. Okay. This is employees is nothing but a resource. By using this resource, we can able to access all the employee data or a specific employee information also. By using this department's resource, we can access all the department's information or a specific department information also. We can able to access that. Okay. Now, in this case, when coming to that web services, each and everything will be referred as a resource. Then how can we access this resource over here? In order to access that resource, we need a URI. Okay. We need a URI. Okay. We need a URI. URI means what? What is the full form? Uniform Resource Identifier. Uniform Resource Identifier. Every resource can be accessible, okay, with the help of a URI. Uniform Resource Identifier. Okay, Uniform Resource Identifier. Okay. Now, so in this case, how can this URI will be getting prepared here? URI means what? Simply the path. Okay, how we are exposing, how we are accessing. That's it, nothing else. Okay. Now, so in this case, when coming to the web service, whenever if you want to access any resource, okay, any resource based on a specific name, then we have to use that URI. So when coming to that URI, okay, when coming to the URI, it will be indicating that how can we access that resource where exactly that part. So basically the URL will be looking like this. HTTP, what domain name, nothing but your website name, like some sample.com / we can specify the resource name. Okay, we can able to access it as a resource name. Okay. What exactly the name of the resource? We can able to identify the resource over here. So now here in this case, whenever if we are going to be accessing any resource, we have to use an URI. Like by using that URI is nothing but your uniform resource identifier, which is used to access that particular resource. Now, so that we have to use that HTTP, and then you can specify the web service name, nothing but your application name / resource. We have to specify the resource name. Like for example, if you want to access that employee's resource, how can we access this one now? I want to access this employee's information. How can we access? HTTP www.somesample.com / how can we access employees? Okay. The resource name is employees. Okay, the resource name is employees. Now, suppose for example here inside my employee table, I'm having some data is available. I'm having some employees information. Like as part of my employee table, I'm having some employees data is available here. Like for example, I'm having 2 employees information. 1001 some Ramesh, 1002 some Kumar. Now, these are the 2 employees information is available. I want only that Ramesh employees information. So at that time, if you want to access only one specific employee information, then we can specify. Now, HTTP www.sample.com / employees. Now here I'm going to be accessing all the employees resource. From that employees, I don't want all, I want only one specific employee information, that is 1001. Okay, 1001. That means it may be any resource. Okay, it may be a table, it may be a class, it may be a method, it may be anything. Everything will be referred as a resource in web services. Okay, everything will be referred as a resource. That resource contains what? Some business logic. Okay, the resource contains what? Some business logic which we can able to consume. That's what here, when coming to the Salesforce, everything we are going to be accessing it as a resource. Everything we can able to access in Salesforce which as a resource. How you are accessing here? Let me explain. For example, assume that I want to access the account information here, account object. How can we access? How can we access that account information, account object in Salesforce? Okay. Now we can specify HTTPS some ap15.salesforce.com / account object 001. Okay. Now this 001 is what? Resource name. Okay, this is the resource name. Here I have given the resource name as employees. Like the similar way for that account object, I have given the resource name as 001. If you want to access that contact object here, what we can specify? HTTPS ap15.salesforce.com /003. Now, for example, I want to access that a Visual Force page. How can we access that? ap15.salesforce.com /apex. Nothing but these are the various pages are available. From that pages, which page you want to access over here? We can specify that page name. Like here, inside my table, I'm having so many records are available. I want to access a specific record. For that one, we are specifying the table name, nothing but the folder name, and then I'm giving that record here. Like the similar way, Apex means what, which is referencing all the Visual Force pages, whatever we have inside your organization. From those Visual Force pages, please provide me the code of this particular Visual Force page. Suppose, for example, here, if you want to access, okay, a record, how can we access the record? ap15.salesforce.com /record ID. Okay, record ID. Directly we can able to access the record information over here. Because inside this record ID itself, it is including the ID of that object also over here. No need to specify separately like a 001 slash record ID. No need to specify that here because that record ID is nothing but that object ID is including inside the record ID itself. The first 3 characters inside your record ID is nothing but your object ID. You know that concept. Okay. So that's what here each and everything we are going to be accessing it as a resource. Every resource can be accessible with the help of an URI. Okay. Every resource can be accessible with the help of an URI. So now through this URI here, nothing but we can able to access the resources over here. Okay. Suppose if you want to access the department's information, how can we access the department's information? HTTP, you can specify your application name like as some sample.com and then departments. What are the name that are given for the resource? Based on the resource name only we can able to access over here. Not based on the table. In the table, what is the table name? I don't know. Okay, table name I don't know that. They may be giving any name over there. Okay, so now in this case, whenever the user is accessing any resource, we are giving a name, but the user doesn't know what exactly that actual resource name. They don't know that. Internally, the table name they don't know, method name they don't know, class name they don't know, but they are referencing by just by using that because of resource name. That's it. Resource name is different, and then the actual object name or business logic class name may be different. We can make it as same also, we can make it as different also, no problem. Okay, now. So now here in this case, if you want to access any specific department information, then we can specify sample.com slash departments slash, I would like to specify the department number 101. Based on the department name, I would like to access over here. Based on the department ID, I would like to access the department information. That means what? When coming to the web services, each and everything can be referred as a resource. Every resource can be accessible with the help of a resource identifier that is called as URI. Okay. With the help of this URI, we are going to be accessing. Now, this URI is also called as an endpoint. This is also called as an endpoint. Endpoint is nothing but target application path, where exactly the target application is there, where exactly the resource is available, that is called as an endpoint. Okay, because the target record or the target service, whatever we can refer. So this is called as an endpoint here. So this is nothing but an endpoint. So this is the endpoint where exactly the information is available. So this is the application which is offering the resource. This is the resource name. With that one, I would like to access only the temporary details which is having that ID 1001. Okay. So now here in this case, whenever we are going to be accessing that any resource, okay, well, which is with the help of web services, we have to specify the resource name, and then we can specify that ID also if you want to fetch only a particular record inside that. So everything can be accessible with the help of resource only. So now this is also called as uniform resource identifier. Okay. Now, then how can we access these resources over here? Whenever if you want to access that resource, then first of all we need a protocol. Okay, we need a protocol. We need a protocol here. So that protocol is nothing but HTTP protocol. Okay, HTTP protocol. We are using the HTTP protocol in order to access each and every resource, okay, over the internet. In order to access these resources over the internet, we need that HTTP protocol here. By using this HTTP protocol, we can able to access this resource and we can perform all the DML operations also. We can insert some records, we can update some records, we can delete some records, we can upset some records, we can retrieve the records also. We can perform all the operations with the help of this HTTP protocol. Okay. By using this protocol, we can able to connect to the third-party resource and we can perform all the operations. If the resource is offering only some records, we can get it, we can access it. If the resource is going to be expecting some input, pass some input values, based on this, you can set some information. We can insert some records also. We can update some records also. We can delete some records. We can perform all the DML operations with the help of the protocol. That is called as HTTP protocol. So which is a very lightweight protocol, okay, so that each and every REST implementation or the REST-based APIs are purely implemented based on HTTP protocol only. So in order to perform the operations on the resources over the HTTP, then we are using the various methods. As part of HTTP protocol, it is providing so many methods. It is providing so many methods to you. It is providing so many methods as part of HTTP. The first one is get method. Get method is used to get the records, to access that resource. With the help of the resource, I would like to get that records. To get the records, we are using that get method. Whenever, if you want to insert some records, okay, whenever, if you want to insert some records over here, then we can go with that post. Post method is for inserting the record. Get method is used to access the records. Retrieve, read permission, read access here. Now, I want to update some records here. For that one, we have to use the put method. Put method is used to update the records. In order to update the records, we are using the put method. To delete the records, we are using the delete method. To delete the records, we are using delete method. To upset the records, we are using patch method. To upset the records, we are using the patch method. As part of HTTP protocol, these are the various methods are available. Get method, post method, put method, delete method, patch method. So these are the methods are available inside the HTTP protocol. Okay, inside the HTTP protocol, we are having the various methods. By using these methods, we can able to perform the operations on the respective resource. Okay. By using this get method, we can able to get the records over here. Okay, we can able to get the records also. We can by using this post method, we can insert the records into the object. Okay, with the help of accessing the resource. By using that put method, we can able to update some records available inside the third-party system, which can be accessible over the URI. And by using the delete method, we can able to delete some records available inside the third-party system. By using the patch method, we can able to perform some upsert operation into your third-party system, which can be accessible with the help of that URI. So that whenever we are implementing the web services, in web services, each and everything will be referred as a resource. Everything will be referred as a resource. It may be a table, it may be a record, it may be a class, it may be a method, it may be anything. Whatever we are implementing, everything will be referred as a resource. Every resource can be accessible with the help of a URI that is called as Uniform Resource Identifier. With the help of that URI, we can able to access each and every resource. Okay. Now, whenever if you want to access those resources, whenever if you want to perform some operations inside the third-party system with the help of these resources, then we have to use the various methods which has been given by the HTTP protocol. As part of HTTP protocol, we are having the various methods are available. Get method, post method, put method, delete method, and the patch method. Get method is used to get the records. In order to get the records, we are using that get method. Post method is used to insert some new records into the third-party system, okay, with the help of accessing this resource. And the put method is used to update some existing records in the third-party system by accessing with the help of the resource. Now, delete method is used to delete some records available in the third-party system by accessing that resource. Patch method is used to perform some upsert operation. Upsert means what? Insert and update both. To perform insert and update operation both in one shot, we are using the patch method here, which is used to perform the upsert operation to the third-party system with the help of accessing the resource. So these are the various principles here. Now, when coming to that, we have web services. Each and everything which we have implemented is called as a resource. Okay, clear? Now. So each and every resource can be accessible with the help of a URI. Okay, each and everything can be accessible with the help of a URI. Okay, now make a note of this one. Resource.
Resource and tables.
There is no relationship. Anything we can give. Just we are going to give for every table we are giving a resource name. You can give any name whatever you want.
How do you fetch the data? How do you get the data from?
Now, based on that method, based on this method only, we can able to fetch that here. That we can indicate. Suppose inside the resource, if you want to provide only that exporting that, we can specify that. Okay. Now, the next session we'll see that here. How can we specify what are the various REST resources are available? Annotations will see.
You don't know what was the table name was.
You don't need to be aware of the table name over here.
Just when we are creating the resource and what is that?
That's it. No need to have any relationship over there. Okay. Just we have to use the resource name. The resource name is internally mapped with the object over there. Default. Okay. You can get. Okay. So now by accessing one resource, you can able to get the parent and child records also we can access. That possibility. By using SQL. Same one. Okay. We'll see practically that concept. How to build our own resources, how can we expose the data, how to insert everything, we'll see practically over here. Okay. Now, the resource. Each functionality or business logic implemented as part of web service is called as a resource. Each resource can be accessible by using a resource name. Resources can be accessible with the help of an URI. We can perform all the DML operations inside the third-party systems. With the help of HTTP protocol by accessing the resource. HTTP protocol provides the various methods to perform the DML operations, like get method, post method, put method, patch method, delete method. So these are the various methods are available as part of HTTP protocol. The second one, when coming to the web service, the second principle says these are purely stateless. Okay, these are purely stateless. Stateless means what? Stateless means what? That means what? Whenever we are performing one operation, okay, by using the web service, okay, now in that particular operation, whatever the results has been written, the result cannot be remembered in the next transaction. Okay, the result cannot be remembered in the next transactions, because once the operation has been done, it will be over. Okay, whatever the results have been written, that will be given to you. That's it. But the same result it can't be producing in the next transaction. Okay, that means what? It is purely the stateless implementation. Like as whenever you are performing any bank transaction through ATM cards by using the ATM machine, to perform each transaction, we have to swipe the card again. Because bank transactions are purely stateless, these are not stateful. These are purely stateless. Why? Because if it is stateful, then once you are done with your operation, immediately other person can go, he will click on S button, he will do some other transactions also. He can misutilize your bank account details. For that one here, bank transactions are purely stateless. Every time we have to show your identity. Even though when you go to that, any bank application also, through mobile, whenever you are going to be opening the bank application, every time you have to show your credentials also. Okay? So now in this case, once the operations have been getting done, it will be over. So whatever the results have been getting produced, the same results will now be remembered in the next transaction. Okay? So one operation result cannot be carried forward to that next transaction as part of stateless implementations. So that each and every web service is purely supporting the stateless implementations. Okay? Next. The third one, cacheable. Cacheable means what? Whatever the results have been written by that web service, okay, whatever the results that were captured from the resource, we can able to maintain it cache. Because I want that same data in the multiple places. So instead of making the request to that resource every time here to get the same information, I want to collect that information once. I want to make inside the cache. Whenever I need it, I can able to collect the data from that cache mechanism here. So that we no need to make a separate request to the resource again. So we can reduce that server traffic also. We can reduce the number of server trips also, and we can improve our application performance as well. For that reason here, we are going to be using that caching mechanism also here, so that whatever the web services are available, these are purely cacheable. Okay. Whenever if you need that information immediately for the subsequent request, okay, for the subsequent request, we can able to get it from the caching itself here. From your cache memory directly, we can able to fetch it instead of going to the same resource again and again and again. Okay. Now, so in this case, after that, code on demand. So whenever we are going to be accessing some resources, it will ask you to execute some functionalities inside your local browser. Okay, it will ask you to execute some functionalities inside your local browser. Like whenever you are accessing any applications, okay, some applications through that Chrome, it will ask you to install some JavaScript, it will ask you to install some like a Flash player like that here into your local system. So then only it will be getting executable, that only it will be visible to you on that application. So at that time, we need to make it as code on demand. That means on demand. Whenever, if you want to display some resource information, it requires to install some other functionalities also over there. And the spot, we can able to install it here. That facility will be available to you as part of that resource. Next one. So one more functionality is, as part of this web services, one more principle is a layered architecture. Layered architecture. So what do you mean by this layered architecture? Like for example, I'm having a resource. Okay, I'm having a resource. Whenever we are going to be consuming the resource, we can no need to access the resource directly. Sometimes my resource is very, very confidential, very, very important, very, very sensitive. At that time, I would like to introduce some authentication, other edition servers also in the middle. Okay. Now, for example, I'm having a resource. Or else I'm having the consumer and the provider. Okay. Now, I'm having a consumer. And then I'm having a provider also. I'm having a provider. Provider in the sense like as a server. Consumer means like as a client. Okay, server and the client. Provider means an application or the person who is providing some resources to you, who is exporting some resources to you, who is exporting some data, exporting some business logics, exporting some functionalities to you. So that as a consumer, as a client, we can able to consume those things we can utilize inside my application as part of my business. So in this case, at the provider side, there is a resource. Okay, there is a resource is available here. I'm having a resource at the provider side. There is a resource at the provider side. Now, as a consumer, I want the resource. Okay, I want the resource. Generally, directly, the consumer is going to be making a request to the provider. They will be accessing the resource directly. But this resource is very, very confidential. It's a banking data, financial data. It may be like as our government-related information. defense related information. At that time, how can we protect this information? For that one, in the middle of that consumer and the provider, I am going to be introducing some authorization servers also. I'm introducing some authorization servers. There is an authorization server. Whenever if you want to access this resource, you have to pass through this authorization server. Authorization server. So I'm having an authorization server is available. So now, you first of all, you have to show your identity for that authorization server. Then only we can able to access it. Now, as a consumer, directly we can't access my service. First of all, you have to make a request to that authorization server. Authorization server is going to be validating your request, and based on that, it is going to providing a token to you. Okay, based on that, it is sending one token to you. The token is called as an access token. This token is called as an access token. Once the access token has been getting received, then we can able to make a request to that resource. Okay, directly you can't access that resource. Okay, directly you can't access that resource. First of all, you have to make a request to the authorization server. Authorization server is going to be generating an access token, nothing but it is granting the permissions. Like for example, come to a scenario. Assume that I'm installing ICICI Bank application inside the mobile. I'm having a smartphone. I'm installing the ICICI Bank application, okay, into my mobile, so that here we can able to perform some bank transactions. I'm having an ICICI Bank account. I would like to perform the transaction. Now, once that ICICI Bank application has been installed, whenever if you are using that, it is asking for some permissions. Okay, it is asking for some permissions. ICICI Bank application requires the permissions on your mobile. Okay, like as for your calls, for your SMS, for your files. It is asking for the permissions here. It will be having the option allow, deny. Two options are available. Okay, not only ICICI Bank application, most of the applications are required the permission. You have to allow the permissions here. Then only it will be able to authorize your device here. Why? Because whenever we are going to be accessing the ICICI Bank application or any mobile application on the device first time, first of all it will verify. So whatever that mobile number has been registered with that account, whether that SIM card is available in the device or not. For that one, will send one SMS notification to that mobile number. It will receive that confirmation back whether that SIM is available or not inside this device. If it is available, then only it will be allows you to utilize that ICICI Bank application inside your mobile device. Or else you can't use that. To verify that, it requires that authentication code. So based on that, it will decide whether the user can able to access that application or not on your device. Like the similar way, for example, here I'm having my Salesforce instance. Okay, I'm having a Salesforce application. Now I would like to access that workbench application over here. Okay, workbench application. I'm using that workbench application right now to connect to my Salesforce instance. Click on login with Salesforce. Now it is indicating that permission. It is asking for the permission. Directly it can't connect. There is an authorization request is required here. Okay, there is an authorization request is required. So now it is connecting to the authorization server. So now it is indicating to the authorization server of Salesforce. Now as a third-party system, the workbench, I want to connect you. So please grant me the permission. As a user of that application, we can decide whether it will be accessible or not here. So we can grant the permissions over here. Now it is indicating that. Workbench is asking you access your basic information, provide access to your data via the web, access and manage your data. Here, do you want me to allow for this particular user or not? If you want, you can grant the permission, or else you can deny the permission also. For that one, directly they can't connect to that your Salesforce application. It requires that authorization request. For that one, in the middle, we are going to be introducing some authorization servers also. Whenever the consumer wants to access my resource, first of all, they have to send the request to the authorization server. Now the authorization server is granting the permission. For example, if I click on this allow, okay, if I click on this allow, it will be granting the permission over here. Then with that particular, once it is granting the permission, along with that permission, it is granting a token that is called as an access token. Okay, that is called as an access token. With that access token, you will make a request to the resource to access that information here. Okay, so for that one, here it is going to require some middlewares. We are going to be introducing some third-party layers also to protect your data from the unauthorized people, from the hackers. Even though the hackers are available, even though the hackers are able to know your path. Okay, even though the hackers are able to know your path, they can't access your data directly here. It requires some authorizations. It requires that access token will be getting generated by the authorization server which we have implemented. So now this authorization server and the server resource both will be communicating with each other over here. Both will be in sync always. Okay, these two will be in sync. These two will be in sync always. Okay, because whenever the request is going to making to that service resource, then the resource is going, the provider is connecting the resource. Whatever the access token is available inside the request, it will send it to the authorization server whether this access token is valid or not. If it is valid, then only it will be providing the resource information to the consumer, or else they can't get that information. So that they're introducing some authorization servers also in the middle over here. Okay, clear? So for that one here, in order to implement this kind of authorizations, we are using a protocol called as OAuth protocol. So we are using that OAuth. OAuth is an open protocol. Okay, OAuth is an open protocol standards. Okay, so which is used to introduce. Okay, which is used to provide the security for your resources. Okay, directly the consumers can't access your request. Okay, directly they can't connect your resource. I need to protect my data from the unauthorized people. For that one, we are using this kind of layered architecture. Okay, we are using this kind of layered architecture in order to protect your resource from the unauthorized people. Okay, clear? Understood the concept here? No. So these are the various principles are available as part of web services. Each and every web service should follow these principles. Everything we are going to be exposing in the form of a resource, and then all the resources are purely the stateless implementations, and then this can be cacheable, and sometimes it requires that some functionality has to be get executed on demand inside your browser, and then we can able to implement the layered architecture also, so that we can introduce some authorization servers in the middle, so that we can able to protect our data from the unauthorized people as well. Okay, clear? These are the principles of the web service. Okay, every web service has to follow these other various principles. Okay, clear? So now here in this case, when coming to the web services, how many types of web services available in Salesforce? Two types. What are those two types? Types of web services. Types of web services. The first one is REST-based web services. Second one is the SOAP-based web services. Okay, REST-based web services and the SOAP-based web services. Generally, all these principles nobody will explain directly, though they will go with that how to create the service. But the background architecture should be aware of that. Because why we have to use authentication mechanism, because this web service can be protected with the help of authorization server. At that time, we have to go with some authentication mechanism with the help of OAuth servers. Okay. So principles are very, very important. Now, so when coming to the REST-based implementations, REST-based web services. So now, whenever we are creating the web services, we can able to create the web services with two types. One is REST-based, second one is SOAP-based. Okay, these are also called as REST web services or the SOAP services. We can call it as REST service or SOAP service, whatever. Okay, now, so when coming to the REST or SOAP, these are what? These are what? Protocols. SOAP is a protocol, fine. REST is not a protocol. Basically, REST is not a protocol, it's an architectural style. Okay? It's an architectural style which has been written on top of HTTP protocol. Okay? Which has been written on top of HTTP protocol. That means what? We are having that HTTP protocol since very long time. When the internet has been introduced, from there itself we are having that HTTP protocol is available, which can be accessible the data in the form of hypertext, okay, format, which can be accessible in the form of hypertext format. So in this case, on top of that hypertext format, because HTTP protocol is going to forwarding the data in the form of human readable format. So in order to protect the data from the unauthorized people, okay, in order to protect the data from the hackers, they have written some layers on top of the HTTP. They have added some principles on top of the HTTP, and then they have implemented as REST. Okay, they are implemented as REST. REST is not a protocol; it's an architectural style. Okay, it's an architectural style which can be accessible everything like as a resource. Okay, which can be accessible everything like as a resource. Okay, now. So now getting this case here, when coming to the REST, what is the full form of REST basically? What is the full form of REST? REST stands for Representational State Transfer. Representational State Transfer. REST stands for Representational State Transfer. Now, by using REST, we can access the resources. Okay, we can access the resources over the internet with the help of HTTP protocol. No need to use any other protocols. With the help of HTTP protocol itself, you can able to access that resources. Okay. REST is an architectural style. REST is an architectural style which has been purely built upon top of the HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol. It uses the HTTP protocol for the communication along with a set of principles. A set of principles added on top of HTTP protocol as part of REST service. As part of REST services. Okay. Now, whenever we are going to be accessing that any resource, okay, as part of REST, if you want to expose that, we have to implement in the form of a resource. If you want to consume, we have to access in the form of the resource only. By using the resource name, we can able to access it. Now, so REST-based implementation is purely built upon HTTP protocol only. It is purely using the HTTP protocol. Okay, for the communication here. Okay, for the communication, it is using that HTTP protocol. Whenever if you want to access that information, then we have to use HTTP protocol with the help of the required methods, like as get method, post method, put method, patch method, delete method. Okay, delete method. This each and every method has been given by Salesforce in the form of an annotation. As part of REST implementation, each and every feature, each and every method has been given in the form of an annotation. Like when you go to the HTTP annotations, you can verify. Salesforce REST annotations. When you go to the REST annotations, we are having the annotations are available. Delete, get, patch, post, put. Okay. In order to make it as a resource, we have to specify an annotation called as @REST resource. This is the resource name. We can specify the name of the resource. With which name the other people can able to access your resource. What kind of operation they can perform, we can specify that the methods also here. Okay. So these are the various annotation. Every method has been given in the form of an annotation in Salesforce as part of REST implementation. How to use this REST implementation we are going to be discussing in tomorrow's session. Okay, we'll see how can we prepare our own service, how can we access it by using the workbench, and how can we use that HTTP delete and the get, patch, post, put, all these things. Okay, that's what here these methods are very, very important. It's a common question. Okay, it's a common question. What are the various annotations are available as part of REST-based web services. These are the various annotations are available. We are going to be using that. Okay. Now, so in this case here, by using the REST-based services, in what format we can able to get that response? We are making some requests because here I am going to be getting some data. Now I am making some requests. I would like to get the response over here. Now what is the response format over here? Now the response format. Response format can be either, it may be a JSON format, or XML format, or text format. So REST implementations will be supporting the response we can able to get in the form of the request or response can be we can able to specify in the form of either JSON format or XML or text format. Okay, in most of the cases, okay, we are going with that the JSON format because JSON is very lightweight. It's very easy to pass when compared with that XML. Okay, now so that here we are going to be using the JSON formats also here. What is JSON format? How can we use the JSON format? How to define the variables, arrays in JSON format? Everything we'll see. Next. So in this case, when coming to the REST-based implementation, we are purely using the HTTP protocol. Okay, HTTP protocol. So now where we are using the various HTTP protocol methods are we are utilizing in order to communicate with that the resource and we can able to perform all the operations. At that time, whatever the request we are going to initiate, whatever the response we would like to get, that will be in the form of either JSON or XML or text-based format also. Okay, clear? No. The next one. When coming to the scope based over here. Okay, when coming to the scope. Scope is what is the scope stands for? Simple Object Access Protocol. It's a protocol. Okay, it's a protocol. It's not an architectural style. It's a protocol. Basically, REST implementations are especially for the mobile applications. When you go to any mobile, all the mobile applications are using REST-based implementations. Okay, by using the REST, you can able to implement some complex transactions also. Okay. Now, when coming to that SOAP web services, so SOAP is nothing but a separate protocol which is used to exchange the data between the consumer and the provider in the form of XML format here. Okay, so which will be using that SOAP protocol. The protocol which it will be using to transfer the data is the SOAP protocol. And the format of data will be purely, okay, the format of data will be purely XML. Okay, format of data will be purely XML format. It will be purely supporting XML format, not other formats. And that too, this XML format of data will be transferring between the client to server, server to client in the form of WSDL files. In the form of WSDL files. WSDL files. WSDL means what? So WSDL, that means WSDL means, okay, web service description language. Okay, we have to purely use that WSDL files in order to have the communication between the client and server. Whenever if you want to access any data from the server, then we have to use that WSDL file generated by the server. That WSDL file we have to consume, then only we can able to have the communication with the third-party application or the third-party system in order to connect to that, in order to access this one. Okay, now. So in this case, whenever we are going to preparing the web services, how can we prepare the REST-based web services? Okay, so what are the various annotations we are going to be using as part of web services? We'll see in tomorrow's session. In tomorrow's session, we'll see how can we prepare the REST-based web services by using all these methods, because get method, post method, patch method, put method, delete method. All these methods we'll see how can we prepare our own service, how can we test it with the help of Workbench tool. Okay, both we'll see practically over here. Okay, after that on Sunday we are discussing about the concept of JSON formats. Tomorrow we have the session at same time, 7 o'clock. Okay, 7 to we are having till 9:30. Okay, 2.5 hour session tomorrow. Okay, no break. Okay.